Okay, that was too loud, sorry. I'll come in again. Okay, imagine that I don't come up all rushed and that I'm like all calm and peaceful and ministerial, and then you hear this. Right? Also imagine that I don't still have gum in my mouth. Good morning. Welcome, both in the sanctuary and online on YouTube, to the worship service for Unitarian Universalist Church of St. Petersburg on the unceded ancestral lands of the Tocobaga and Seminole Native people. My name is Ben Atherton Zeman, and I'm the minister here. I am so excited for today's new member worship service. It is called The Courage to Join, and I'm pleased to be joined myself by today's worship associate, Todd Wellman.
Hey, thanks, Ben. We are a people of many beliefs, but we share a common faith that what we do in this world matters, and that we are connected to one another and to our planet. Whoever you are, wherever you are in your journey, you are welcome here.
Me? No, you have the announcement.
Thank you for that reminder. Care bag contributions. It is the last 2 days, today and tomorrow. It's for our southern neighbors in disaster areas due to the hurricane. At the church, we have collection boxes in the front and side entrances. Items requested include things like diapers, wipes, baby formula, toilet paper, Pedialyte, paper towels, Gatorade, and more. Virginia Fox is our contact here. Thanks for your generosity in advance.
Virginia, you here? Want to raise your hand? Not here, but oh, hey! Thank you for doing this. And is that correct? Tomorrow's the last day, and then they'll be taken? Okay. So you have, wonderful, today and tomorrow. I also want to give a special welcome to any newcomers. I just met a couple of you in there. Hello. If you want a church where we believe that Black Lives Matter, where we believe that love makes a family, and that we believe that no human being is illegal, I have good news. You may have found your church home. So if you are new or even relatively new, or you've been away for a long time and you're coming back, you want to just wave and I'll wave back. Hello, new and newish people, good to see you. And if you want, you can stand as you're willing and able and introduce yourself, and you don't have to do this because this is terrifying for some people. But it would be great for us to hear a little bit about what brought you here, and then I'll repeat what I hear you say so that the YouTube audience can get to know you a tiny bit. Anyone willing to say hi? Thanks.
My name is Gordia. This is my daughter Alex, my partner Danny.
Hey Danny, hey Alex. Gordia, is it? Welcome, good to have you. Hey. Yeah.
Steve Sanderson. We just moved here from Texas in August. And I tend to be an isolationist, and I love it for family. But unfortunately, that's not how it goes.
Well, welcome Steve Sanderson, who just moved here. From Texas, was it? Yes. Great, good to have you. Who else? Kelly Olson and James Mack are live streaming and running the soundboard, and Laura, I believe, Laura is being trained to do it. Thank you. I'm choked up with emotion that someone is volunteering to do the live streaming. Our greeters are Jerry, Sabina, Carol, and Patty. Masks are now optional as of last week in the worship service. Let's take a moment to greet our neighbors. Please remember to get consent if you want to do something like shake their hand or hug them. Our flaming chalice is the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. It's a symbol of hope, the sacred, the quest for truth, the warmth of community, the light of reason, and so much more. So when our new members light the chalice, I invite you to say our covenant out loud. The words can be found in the text chat if you're on YouTube and in the order of service if you are here. Feel free to follow along with the two hand movements. Ready? Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant,
to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love,
and to help one another. Thanks, you guys. Thank you.
Now, please rise as you're willing and able for our first hymn, Come and Go With Me. It's number 1018 in the Teal hymnal. That's 1018 in the Teal hymnal.
And please notice that there are actually 4 verses. At the very end, you'll see there will be justice in this land. They'll be singing in that land. That is, if we have a choir one day, they'll be singing in this land. So if you're interested in joining the choir, we've already got 10 people, so you won't have to do solos. So please speak to me after the service. In fact, it's so important, I'll just come up. No, never mind. Come and go with me to that land.
Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound.
There'll be freedom.
There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land.
Put your books down. Freedom in that land where I'm bound. Freedom. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There'll be justice.
There'll be justice in that land.
There'll be
Justice in that land.
There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. There'll be singing.
There'll be singing in that land.
There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm
Thank you, John. Now it's the time for the children to come forward for Time for All Ages with our Director of Religious Education and Communications, Janae Johnson. Woo!
Testing. She says no. She means no. Especially with 2, that sticks. Yeah.
A new kid.
Yeah, she is a toddler. Well, hello. Good morning, y'all. Aw, talking amongst themselves. Well, as we all know, today is New Member Sunday. I'm going to let them talk. Today is New Member Sunday, right? And so what the adults do, they sign this membership book to be a part of the church. So they can volunteer on ways to help the church. Can you think of a way to help the church?
I don't know.
They can think for the church, have ideas, right?
Yeah.
How about you, Gigi? Do you have any ideas? Maybe? Maybe helping a garden? Maybe? Or maybe passing out the blue sheets that we got when we walked in, right? Or your name tags. You guys don't have name tags on. That could be a thing that we can do too, right? How about you guys? What do you think we can do to help the church?
What did you already do this morning?
Or do you already do it this morning? I'm coming down to your level.
Yes.
Light the chalice, say it again.
Light the chalice.
That's a big one too. Lillian, didn't you drop the stones in the water one day? That's a way to help too, right? Or you can dance and giggle and laugh jubilantly during service. That works too. So I wanted to see if you guys can also be a part of helping the church, right? So I have this cool stamp. And I would like for you to stamp on my candles here so you can be a part of helping the church. Would that be okay? Would you like to help? Who would like to start? I start right here. You see my candle? Sorry, you guys online. This is for the kids. Anywhere. There you go. It's a good stamp. Want to go next? Who would like to go next? You want to? Who? There we go. Good stamp. How about you, Raya? Would you like to help the church? And ways that we can help in class is listening to our teacher, Miss Trish, paying attention, using our listening ears, helping water the garden. Here you go. And the stamp. Lillian, how would you like to help? You can go ahead and stamp the candle. And hi, you want to help? You can just smile. That works too. It warms my heart. So even though they're little, the little ones can absolutely help the church too by being present or dragging us out of bed on Sunday morning. But every little candle that you guys lit here today with our stamps is one of the many reasons why we're all here. In order to be a church, we're here as a community, right? Can't be a community as one person, right? Right. Well, thank you so much for listening today. Thank you so much for listening today. Yay! It's time to sing them off.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janae. Thank you, kids. Our reading today is by Australian writer Caitlin Johnstone.
Future generations, if there are future generations, will scarce believe that our species once stockpiled Armageddon weapons on purpose, once built our entire civilization around economic models that could only result in the destruction of our biosphere, once permitted corporations who profit from war to successfully lobby policymakers to start more wars, once warehoused living beings in factory farms where they were tortured and brutalized.
Future generations will scarce believe that our species once starved children to death with sanctions because their rulers disobeyed our rulers, once made policies which kept people poor so they'd be financially coerced into facilitating military mass murder, once let people go hungry and homeless if they didn't have enough imaginary numbers in their bank accounts, once stripped this planet of biodiversity and old-growth forests to turn the gears of an imaginary economy instead of collaborating with our ecosystem.
Future generations, if there are future generations, will look back in perplexity at our omnicidal madness, at our subservience to the very worst among us, at our remarkable ingenuity in always finding groundbreaking new ways to hate each other, at our fanatical devotion to competition and control when we knew that we really wanted was to be loved. At the way we'd marginalize and outcast those who thought differently from the rest of us, even though we knew full well that our way of thinking wasn't working. At the way we'd spend our lives feeding insatiably hungry ghosts, only to wind up on our deathbeds wondering why we felt dissatisfied.
Future generations, if there are future generations, I am so glad you made it past the many obstacles we put up between our present age and your birth.
Praise be to you and your parents for cleaning up our mess,
For setting things right, for becoming conscious,
for valuing a healthy world, for getting humanity to where you're at now.
so the real adventure of our species can begin.
Future generations, if there are future generations,
Thank you for your kindness and compassion as you gaze back on us through records we have left you.
it might not be immediately obvious. But
some of us
here
saw what
you're
you're seeing from there. Thanks, Todd. Now we come to the time in the worship service for joys, sorrows, and concerns. Since we are on YouTube Live, if you're on YouTube Live, please write your joys and your sorrows into the text chat. Those of you here can fill out a card if you have not already done so, or if you have not emailed me during the week, minister@uustpete.org. Right now, Jan Roeder, one of our new members, will place a stone in the water for each one submitted this week.
First, a stone of concern for Dwight Lawton. He has a mild COVID case and was in St. Anthony's Hospital after feeling weak. He is currently home and on the mend, but still feeling weak.
A stone of concern from Joanne Kellner. Her medical expenses for her cancer treatment are quite high, so her friend started a GoFundMe to help with those expenses.
A stone of concern from Sandra Lewis, requesting prayers for her brother Steve.
3 stones of joy from Janae. Her great aunt's birthday, her dad's birthday, and Jade's birthday are all on Tuesday. Jade's not here today, but she's watching online. Happy birthday, Jade.
A stone of joy from Debbie Pullis Carter, her close friend who prefers to remain nameless, made it through 5 hours of surgery this week. The surgeon is very optimistic that they got everything and that there should be no further complications. Debbie's over the moon with happiness.
A second stone from Debbie for her other friend who is unfortunately dying of lupus. She's about to turn 52 and will remain a force of nature in everyone's mind who knew her.
A stone of concern from Dick McRobert for his brother-in-law, Mike. Mike lost his wife recently to leukemia.
A stone of joy from Jade Johnson, watching from home, who says that Gamer Club is going great and submitted this drawing to me as proof.
A stone of concern for Lee Silverstein, who is still recovering from her broken ankle and would appreciate calls and visits.
Stone of joy from David who says, my first foster child as a guardian ad litem is an extremely happy, beautiful, and healthy 8-month-old baby. It's great, David.
One from Trish Harding, a stone of joy. My friend of 50 years is visiting here, or me, from Montana. We lost touch for a few years and found each other by chance. Once we got in touch again, we vowed to keep the connection. We are so grateful to be able to visit each other.
Stone of concern from Connie Hubbard, who says, my dear friend had her dog Mia, who was 15, put down yesterday. Mia was all she had. Any other cards? Let's bring to mind and hold close to our hearts Lee Silverstein, Dwight Lawton, Joanne, and all those known and unknown who are facing health concerns. May we also continue working for universal health care in this nation so no one need worry about the financial burden in receiving needed health care. May all who are facing challenges and joys find a comforting presence in the warmth of fellowship and community. And let's place one final stone for all those joys and sorrows that remain in our hearts, perhaps too tender to yet be spoken out loud. And let's take a moment of silence together. The mystery is that we are connected even when we feel apart. So let us rejoice in our beloved community that makes of the many one. So may it be. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Sometimes when you are a new member in a place like a Unitarian Universalist church, you join and then wonder, well, now what? What do I do? Much less what do I believe? But this is a character who also is spending some time in a musical wondering what he should be doing. And hopefully this is some good contemplation for you. A little twinge, a little shock, a little whisper at the bottom of your memory. A sudden wind, a gentle knock, and then a rustle in the leaves. You hold your breath, you check the lock, you reassure yourself that nothing's at the window. But you're wondering, wondering what that was. Nothing's gonna happen. Nothing's gonna happen. You turn a key, you flip a switch, you settle back into the blissful unfamiliar. You close your eyes, but there's an itch, a little hurt your heart retrieves. But you ignore the tiny twitch, pretend the feeling will be gone before the morning. But you're wondering, where you are. Nothing's gonna happen. Nothing's gonna happen. But wouldn't it be fine to share the weather in her eyes, her hair, her footsteps as she climbs the stair, the shadow in her light? But everything you know is true, and everything you want to do, and everything that makes you you collides against the night. but nothing's black and white. And you're wondering what to do. Nothing has to happen.
Wow. This is a reason to join by itself, because we have incredible singers like Todd here. Thank you, Todd. And I've had some wonderful conversations these last couple weeks with these new members seated in the first 3 rows who have been wondering whether they want to join. I'm not even going to do it. Some of them might still be wondering whether it was the good idea or not. But here you are, and you've signed our book, and you've entered into a covenant with everyone in this room. What makes this church different from any other church? Now, for many of you, and I think for many of us, we're attracted to this particular church because it's not very churchy. Maybe we have been harmed by our association with previous churches and previous denominations that were more churchy. Maybe we're enjoying the focus here on social justice, the interesting conversations. Maybe we grit our teeth through the more churchy parts like joys and sorrows or singing hymns. Maybe you like the fact that we encourage free thinking, that we don't have a creed. And come to think of it, we don't have a creed if we're a free faith. Why do we have you sign the book? Why do we have you make a pledge? Isn't that contrary to the idea of a free church? How is the church free when we make you take a class, sign in, pledge in order to be a member, in order to have a vote? To answer this question, let me take you back to the year 1648, where our Puritan religious ancestors wrote a document called the Cambridge Platform. The Cambridge Platform addresses these seemingly contradictory notions of freedom and responsibility, specifically the responsibility of covenant that we have with one another and that now you have with us, as exemplified by our 7th principle. Now, maybe some of you like UU history about as much as other of you like hymns. So feel free to take a nap if this is not your thing. We'll wake you up for the offering. These Puritans in the mid-1600s were fleeing state-controlled churches in England. The Cambridge Platform was one of the first documents to codify congregational polity. Now the word polity, those who don't know, means how we conduct our church governance, and congregational polity means the highest level of authority in any Unitarian Universalist church is the congregation. We don't have a pope, we don't have bishops. Reverend Susan Frederick Gray, you may know her, she is the president of the Unitarian Universalist Association, or UUA, but it is named an association. Reverend Susan, although she's fantastic, might visit our church someday, and she wouldn't get a vote, and neither do I. Only those who have signed this book can do that. You, the congregation, have ultimate control over what we do, what our mission, what our ministry is, and who you hire as your minister. And this control was outlined and codified in that 1648 document. This lovely book only goes back to 1914 when the first few members signed the book. The signatures are still very legible from 1914 until 1 hour ago when our last members just signed it. The conversations leading up to the Cambridge platform took place for 11 years before the document was produced, as is currently true in our denomination. We like to talk and meet about things and wordsmith things. So in 1637, all the church-going folks in Dedham, Massachusetts began a year-long series of cottage meetings, each organized around discussion of a particular question facing their religious community. And according to the UUA, we might not think that in order to know each other's religious views, they'd want to talk about things like salvation, damnation, predestination, morality, but they did not. What they mostly discussed were matters of civic organization, because in their understanding, the church was supposed to reflect the ethic of the larger society, and what they longed for was sincere religious association based in love and founded in freedom. Because in the England they just left behind, these meetings would have been illegal. The bishops of the English churches had begun to crack down on the ministers, scholars, and lay people who dared to discuss church lessons in a political and social light. Discontent grew not with church theology so much as the ecclesiastical structure that dictated every facet of local church affairs. The idea of a free church took shape among the people, a church whose individual congregations were controlled by no outside authority. Many of you know our fourth principle, the free and responsible search for truth and meaning. So that's the free part, but we have to also remember the responsible part. So for example, as a man, I have the freedom to tell a sexist, misogynist joke from the pulpit. But as someone connected to all of you, and as someone married to a woman, I also have the responsibility to think of how my joke will have effects on you. As Unitarian Oliver Wendell Holmes put it, the right to swing my fist ends where the other man's nose begins. The Cambridge platform established the independence of Puritan churches. It's nice, I'm going to just dance. The independence of Puritan churches, but at the same time, the Cambridge platform codified the interdependence of each church member, and even the interdependence between neighboring churches. So, using the sexist gender binary language of 1630, Massachusetts Bay Governor John Winthrop said, "We must love one another with a pure heart, fervently. We must bear one another's burdens. We must not look only on our own things, but also on the things of our brethren." Now, some of you might recognize the text of this speech. Winthrop said this while on board his ship called the Arbella when it was about to set sail for North America. The speech became known as the City on the Hill speech, and it's been quoted by countless politicians, including Ronald Reagan, since. Speaking of the possible dangers of the voyage, Winthrop said, "The only way to avoid a shipwreck is to be knit together in this work, interdependence." Now, granted, Winthrop was probably talking about the interdependence within the context of colonialism and heteropatriarchy. So when he says we must bear one another's burdens, he probably meant a white heterosexual family unit where the father was the head and the mother couldn't own property. We just heard last week about Columbus's legacy of colonialism a century and a half before the Cambridge platform was signed. Winthrop probably wasn't thinking of bearing the burdens of Native Americans. Our present is shaped by our past. So as an older cisgender white guy myself, my idea of religious freedom probably differs from El Tucalija Maldonado's, who shared the pulpit with me last week. So we can't just look to our ancestors that look like Winthrop or to documents like the Cambridge Platform to guide us. We must also look to modern UU leaders like El, like Ariana Drew, like Janae Johnson, to guide us towards Dr. King's vision of a beloved community. We must even look to the future generations, if there are future generations that Todd and I spoke of, and thank them for cleaning up our mess, for setting things right, for becoming conscious, for valuing a healthy world, for getting humanity to where we're at now so that the real adventure of our species could begin. Membership in our church isn't to be taken lightly. That's why we have people take a class, make a pledge before we have them sign this book. And I've been learning about the history of our congregation, and there seems to be a pattern where conflict leads to departure. Have you noticed this too? Now I'm asking you to get into conflicts and stay. Let's break this pattern of leaving at the drop of a hat, switching churches like we would switch a restaurant where we don't like the food. Now, having said that, if this church is not the right place for you, I don't want you to stay just as much as I would not want you to stay in a marriage that was unhealthy. But please treat this covenant and this commitment like you would a marriage vow, albeit with a lot more people. Because when you think about it, we're already not agreeing when we come in the door. Like, we get it that everyone here has different notions of God, of the afterlife, of worship, and that's the part that most churches do agree about as their first step to joining. But as Todd said earlier, we are a people of many beliefs, but we do share a common faith that what we do in this world matters, and that we are connected to one another and to this planet. Whoever you are, wherever you are in your journey, you are welcome here. And this project of creating a beloved community where peace, justice, and kindness reign, where we realize our interdependence, where we truly bear one another's burdens, that's a project worth doing. That is the work that we are called to do, especially in a state that tells us don't say gay, that curtails reproductive freedom, that sends refugees to Martha's Vineyard with state-funded airplanes. But I can't do this work alone. I need your help. We need your help. We need one another. So those of you in the first few rows, thank you for joining us. Wanderers, worshipers, lovers of leaving, I welcome your fears, your trepidation. I welcome your past church experiences, both good and horrifying. I welcome your enthusiasm. Where's David? I welcome your enthusiasm. I welcome your dogged determination to do good. I welcome your doubts. I welcome your faith. I welcome your hope. In a moment, all of you who are joining will stand up here. And like a wedding where vows are exchanged, you will say the words of commitment that Vonda and I have handed out to you. If David, you and Gabby need them, they're up here. And then our president, Rebecca Wilson, will lead the congregation in saying your words of welcome to our new members. It's an insert in the order of service. Then we will end by repeating our covenant that we said when we lit the chalice. We'll finish worship service, we'll eat some cake, then we'll begin and continue the work of this congregation, the work of this community. Our work will be shaped by past ancestors, present leaders, and future generations. The work will doubtless take some surprising turns. It will be glorious and thrilling at times, messy and heartbreaking at others. So let's do the work in a way that celebrates both freedom and responsibility. Let's do it remembering we all have inherent worth, remembering we are all interconnected. Let's do it because it is work that needs doing. Let's do it together. Amen. Ashe. Blessed be.
Now let us remember our connection to one another, and let us not forget our contributions to support the means to those connections. Today is a Share the Plate Sunday. We will donate 100% of the non-pledge offering plate to the UUA Disaster Relief Fund. While our UU St. Pete building and grounds had minimal damage from Hurricane Ian, UU churches south of us had significant damage. Congregations in Bradenton, Sarasota, Venice, Port Charlotte, Fort Myers, and Naples were all affected. The UUA Disaster Relief Fund is a concrete way that Unitarian Universalists support other UUs as they recover from disasters. Thank you for your generosity. Checks can be made out to UU St. Pete with disaster relief on the memo line. The link to give online is in the description box below your screen if you're online. You can also donate through the FANCO Faith Engagement mobile app or on our website under the Giving tab at uustpete.org, or by sending a check to the church office. If you are a newcomer here, please refrain from making a donation. This service is our gift to you, and your presence is your gift to us. The offering will now be given and received.
I want to invite all the members to come up in front. And if we can maybe do 3 rows on the stairs, those who feel like ascending the stairs can be the top row, so that everyone can see you. Kelly, let me know if they're getting in the shot there. While they're getting settled, our membership co-chair, Carol Ulmer, has agreed to say a few things.
So Ben asked me, can you say a few things about membership? I'm like, okay, yeah, I can do that. So yes, I am a member of this wonderful congregation, and I waited maybe 6 months before I decided to join, even though I had been UU for a good 13 years prior. I wanted to make sure that this was my congregation, and yes, it was. So I gladly became a member. I'm a joiner, I'll admit it. I become members of things that I feel strongly about, and since 2004, I've felt very strongly about being UU. So I'm a member. I want to share this with other people, And so I am very excited to have these 16 people over here who are joining us as members. And I welcome every one of you. I hope you all will welcome them as you have been welcomed in the past. Talk with them, meet with them, bring them to your events, whatever they may be. Make them feel welcome at home. This is their home. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you, Carol. All right, let's do this. Here at UU St. Pete, people have gathered for over a century seeking a higher purpose and deeper life than they could find alone. We are grateful today for each one of you that you have found your way here and that you have decided to make a commitment to this faith community. We hope that as members of this community, you will allow yourselves to know and to be known, to minister and to be ministered to love and to be loved by this congregation. If you accept this, please say your affirmation in the words in front of you. I affirm the responsibilities it entails. I enter. Serve. Thank you. And Rebecca?
We, the members and friends of the Unitarian Universalist Church of St. Petersburg,
welcome you to this congregation.
We pledge to be a supportive community that respects who you are and affirms all that you can become.
Cry with us, laugh with us, work with us. Together we seek the highest good. We are glad that you have found in us a home for your spirit. Welcome to you, St. Pete. Thank you for joining us. All right, before we sit down, if you would part like the sea in the middle so they can see the chalice, because what would be great is if we could all say our covenant once again, new members and all members. Kelly, can they see the, right. So, for the second time today, we say, love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Thank you. You may be seated. Welcome to UU St. Pete. No, don't be seated. No, don't be seated. Just like how we rehearsed it.
This month we've been talking about courage and focusing on courage, the courage to love, the courage to join. It's what binds us together. And this chalice is the symbol of courage. It really came together during World War II for the UUs, that it rose up as our main symbol. And today we are going to present you with your own chalice on behalf of the congregation as a symbol of our love for you and a symbol of courage, the courage that you had to join us. And we're so glad you're with us.
As our new members receive their name tags and their gifts, aren't those chalices gorgeous? Oh my gosh. We decided at staff meeting that we'd try a closing hymn. So Rise as you are willing and able for our closing hymn, number 1064, in the Teal hymnal classic favorite, Blue Boat Home. Oh, Rebecca has one and Vonda has the other.
Oh, below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I glide a starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
You can remain standing for the benediction, which I got from new member David Hu. We are here dedicated to the proposition that behind all our differences, beneath all our diversity, there is a unity that makes us one and binds us together. In spite of time and death and the space between the stars, we join in silent witness to that unity. Amen. Ashe. Blessed be. Now, I haven't done a receiving line ever in my year and 2 months here, so today I'm going to go over there along with any of the new members who want to join me, so anyone can meet new members if you want to after Aaron plays the postlude music. But right now, William and Earl, if you would be so kind as to extinguish the chalice. And the words of our traditional chalice extinguishing are in your order of service. Those of you on YouTube, they're online in the text chat. Use that little hat and put it on. Do it. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of courage. These we carry in our hearts out into the world. Go in peace.